Okay, picture this. You're in the kitchen, you're making dinner. Everything's going great. You grab an onion, make that first confident slice, and then, bam, the attack begins. That stinging, the burning, and oh yeah, the sudden unstoppable tears. You're not having an emotional breakdown, you're literally caught in the crossfire of a brilliant, microscopic battle. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden defense system of this everyday vegetable.
I mean, it's a real puzzle, right? Onions are the absolute foundation of flavor in so many dishes, yet they defend themselves like a tiny invisible army. So what is really going on here? Why does this humble little vegetable have the power to make even the toughest chef weep? Exactly. This has nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with your feelings and everything to do with the onion's will to survive. What you're experiencing is a super sophisticated defense mechanism. It's basically a form of chemical warfare that's been perfected over millions of years. And it's all designed to send one crystal clear message: back off.
All right, let's get into it. To really understand the attack, we have to get to know the attacker. Yeah, on the surface, it's a harmless vegetable, but just under that papery skin, it's armed and ready, and its power comes directly from the ground it grows in. So onions are part of this big family called the Allium genus. And if you've ever gotten that sharp, pungent kick from garlic or leeks, well, you're tasting a family resemblance. They're all kind of like cousins in the chemical self-defense game. But the onion, it is the undisputed champion of making us cry. So, what's the motive behind this whole chemical assault? Pure and simple survival. See, onions are like expert miners pulling sulfur up from the soil. But they don't just store it, they weaponize it. They build it into these ingenious molecular booby traps that just lie in wait for some unsuspecting predator, or, you, to make that first cut. Now, this is where it gets really clever. The onion's entire arsenal is based on a two-step trigger. It's all perfectly stable, completely harmless, until an outside force, yep, your knife, completes the circuit and just unleashes total chemical chaos. This slide shows you exactly how cunning this strategy is. Inside every single one of the onion cells, the key ingredients are kept in separate, sealed-off chambers. It's kind of like a two-part epoxy, You've got these sulfur compounds on one side and special enzymes on the other. As long as they're kept apart, everything's peaceful. But the very instant your blade breaks through those cell walls, it is all-out war. And this reaction? It happens in the blink of an eye. That slice shatters the cell walls. That breach unleashes the enzymes. Think of them as little biological gas pedals. They immediately smash into those sulfur compounds and kick off a lightning-fast chemical transformation. So what does this whole furious reaction create? An invisible, airborne weapon. In just a fraction of a second, the onion has manufactured and launched its very own personalized molecular tear gas, and it's heading straight for your eyes. The end product of all that frantic mixing is a chemical with a mouthful of a name, syn-propanethyl S-oxide. But all you really need to know is that this stuff is a highly volatile sulfur compound, and volatile just means it evaporates super fast, becoming a gas that floats right up from your cutting board. There's a fancy scientific name for a substance like this, a lachrymator. It actually comes from the Latin word for tear. And it's no joke. Police use synthetic lachrymators for riot control. But the humble onion, it's been deploying its own natural, battle-tested version for millions of years. And right here, this is the final incredible step of the attack. When that lacrimator gas reaches the moisture on the surface of your eyeballs, it dissolves, and it goes through one last chemical change. It instantly creates a tiny but very irritating amount of mild sulfurous acid right there on your eye. So your body's response is just pure reflexive defense. The nerve endings in your eyes detect this acid and they sound the alarm, basically screaming to your brain, "Acid attack, evacuate now." Your brain then orders your tear glands into overdrive, producing a flood of tears to try and dilute and flush the chemical invader away. And just like that, the onion has won the battle, for now. But, and this is the good part, now that we understand the science of the onion's attack, we can use that very same science to fight back and win this kitchen war. Because after all, knowledge is power, right? So what's our secret weapon? Well, your most effective counterattack comes down to one thing: temperature. Specifically, cold. This number, the freezing point of water, points us directly to the onion's greatest weakness. So here's why that works.
Chilling an onion in the fridge or a bowl of ice water for about 30 minutes before you cut it makes those enemy enzymes, well, sluggish, lazy. Cold slows down chemistry, and slower enzymes mean a much slower reaction, which means way less of that tear-jerking gas ever gets launched into the air. You've basically disarmed the booby trap before it can even go off.
So there you have it. The tears you cry when you're chopping an onion aren't a sign of weakness. They're proof of a brilliant, rapid-fire chemical defense system. And now you know its secret. It kind of makes you wonder, what other incredible chemical dramas are playing out in your kitchen, hiding right there in plain sight?